A councillor that recognizes that with change comes opportunity, but with challenges as well. A councillor that expects and demands developers to deliver more than mediocrity and listens to the needs of the city and the neighborhood, not for developers to just deliver what is expedient for them. I am that candidate. I understand development. I challenge them. I challenge the issues, and I do care a great deal for my community, as can be told by my record. I would certainly appreciate your continuing support. Thank you.
Thank you, May. Next is Justin Kim.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Kim, an independent candidate. I'm married. I'm a father of 2 children, age 8 and 4. I own a small business specializing in IT consulting. I'm a community volunteer and actively involved in church, work with youth, young families, seniors, and veterans. As your city councilor, I will work to ensure there are good amenities and infrastructure in place to meet your needs. I will encourage growth in the high-tech sector, leading to more local quality jobs. I will respect the views of residents and ensure City Hall remains open, transparent, accountable, so that we are fiscally responsible with your tax dollars. On November 15th, vote for Justin Kim. I will serve to the best of my ability to uphold and enhance our beautiful and diverse city. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Next up is Shobha Mary.
Thank you all for coming. My name is Shobha Nair. 14 years ago, my husband and I chose Coquitlam as a home. We chose the city because of the green spaces and wonderful parks and beautiful neighborhoods. Coquitlam is growing. Our challenge is to manage that growth in a way which preserves and protects the things we all love about the city. That kind of management needs leadership. Leaders who work together in the City Hall to protect the interest of our citizens, to ensure our city remains an affordable place to live, to protect our environment, to build strong local economy with good paying jobs, to make our city safe, fun, and vibrant. I'm Shobha Nair. I'm a college instructor, married and mom to 3 beautiful girls who go to Glen Secondary School. I've been active in the local community, and currently I serve as a vice chair of Family Court and Youth Justice Committee, City of Coquitlam. This election, I'm asking for your...
Thank you, Shobha. That's 1 minute. Next is Craig Hodge.
Hi, my name is Craig Hodge, and I'm running for re-election here in the city of Coquitlam for City Council. I'm just completing my first term on council, but I've lived here in Coquitlam for all of my life, and now I'm raising my family here in Coquitlam. I coach youth soccer, I coach ball hockey, I'm a scout leader, I'm a past president of the Coquitlam Heritage Society, and I'm a past president of this chamber, the Tri-City Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a past director of the BC Chamber of Commerce. I was elected by local businesses here in the Lower Mainland to serve 6 terms on the BC Chamber of Commerce. As a past president of the Chamber of Commerce here, I've been a strong voice of local business, and I was successful in bringing our 3 cities together to form a single municipal multi-jurisdictional business license. And that's helped to cut red tape. And together, we've been able to grow businesses. And in fact, all 3 of our city council...
Thank you, Craig. That's 1 minute. Yeah, please feel free to applaud after the speeches, more so for the debates themselves, when each individual speech after the debate was what we were talking about. Apologies from the moderating table. Sorry, Andy Shen, please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Andy Shen, and I'm running to be your next Coquitlam City Councilor. I've been a proud resident of Coquitlam for the past 20 years. This is where I grew up, this is where I went to school, and this is where I plan on working. I currently work for a federal member of parliament. I've been door knocking all summer, both residents and businesses, and I've heard the same thing over and over again. We need well-paying jobs in Coquitlam. And to do so, we need to make sure that our economy is great. But you know what? There's no fiscal responsibility at City Hall. Taxes keep going up year after year, and we need to lower taxes so that we remain competitive in the Lower Mainland. I hope I can count on your support in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Next is Jack Tremblay.
Hello, welcome tonight. My name is Jack Tremblay. I was born and raised in a military family, so I've traveled all over the world, including across Canada as well. I'm fortunate to raise my family here, and I've been here for 20 years. I'm chair of the library board. I've sat on many city committees establishing positive relationships with many stakeholders. I'm also past president of the Laurel Foundation, and I'm also a biologist, and I care deeply about the environment. I'm a banker. I'm a branch manager, and I'm also an auditor. I specialize in small business and commercial finance. I have an intimate understanding of the challenges that businesses have today. As your chair, the team of the library board has put processes together. Not only did we improve service, but we actually extended our hours in the library at no cost to you. I want to bring this successful model to City Hall. City Hall is not just a building, it's a service. And I also want small businesses to have greater access to the city's procurement requirements and be a part of the supply chain of goods and services in the city. It's what good economies do. But I need to have a team to do this. We have been clear in our support for small business and our
Thank you, Jack. That's 1 minute. Next is Terry Towner.
Good evening, my name is Terry Towner and I'm an independent candidate seeking my first term on City Council. I live, work and play in Coquitlam for the same reasons as you. Coquitlam is a great city with lots to offer. Coquitlam's future is bright. Many of you here know me from my vast community involvement over many years and in many leadership roles. My commitment and dedication to both one facet of my community that I'm proud to share with you is I'm the only non-incumbent candidate to receive the endorsement from Coquitlam Sports Association, and I received both those endorsements. In terms of community and the people in it, my track record is proven. You can count on me. I'm a team player, I have common sense, and I can be a strong voice. I'm running for council to contribute to this track record and continue to contribute to the quality of life in Coquitlam in an even more positive and meaningful way. A vote for me is a vote for community. I listen, I care, I make things happen.
Thank you, Terry. As a point of order, Representative Shimon Kapani is not here. We will now move to Ben Craig.
I take it out? I can walk. Thanks, Aaron and Mike, and thanks to the Tri-City Chamber of Commerce for hosting this important event. My name is Ben Craig. I'm your independent candidate for council. I believe in supporting our communities, our small businesses, and you, the taxpayer. Our government has become unaffordable. Our property taxes go up, while our services go down. City Hall isn't thinking like a taxpayer. Now, I've spoken to thousands of you over the years, and your message is clear. This has to stop. If we want to live in the greatest city in British Columbia, our politicians can't just show up every 4 years to ask for your vote. They have to show up every single day, and that's what I've been doing. As a community activist, I've been deeply engaged in the civic process. I've been a financial advisor for over 15 years. I understand the value of a dollar and the need to stick to budgets. If you share these values, then vote for me, Ben Craig, on November 15th for City Council. Thank you.
Next is Terry O'Neill.
Hi, I'm Terry O'Neill. I'm a current city independent one, and I'm running for re-election. You know, this is our fourth all candidates meeting, and we've heard a lot of big themes: tax reduction, municipal spending, services, densification, transit. There's been one issue we have not heard from, and it's kind of the elephant in the room. It's been referred to a few times. It's the fact that there's a big slate running, and the fact is that slate is an NDP slate. The NDP is attempting to take over City Hall. It's no coincidence that every member member of that slate is an NDP. It's no coincidence that the NDP MLA and MP for the area are endorsing the slate. It's no coincidence that the very heavily NDP aligned QP union is endorsing the slate. So we all know the damage that was caused to BC when the NDP were in power. So let's keep them out. Let's vote for independents like me, Ontario Neil.
Thank you, Terry. That's wonderful. Next, we have Chris.
Well, thank you all for coming out tonight, and thanks to the Chamber for putting this on. My name is Chris Wilson, and I am running for re-election on City Council because I want to protect Coquitlam and all the great things that we have in our community. I've been a strong community champion for Coquitlam for almost 20 years. I've lived here for 25 years, and as a former Olympian in wrestling, I know about teamwork, I know about what it takes to be successful at something, and I'm not afraid of hard work. Through my ongoing involvement in community organizations like SHARE, Operation Red Nose, the Chamber, Rotary, I've shown that I truly care about our community and I'm involved in our community. What does this look like? To me, it looks like it means ensuring our city remains an affordable place to live. It means protecting our environment. It means building a strong local economy with good paying jobs and taking advantage of all the infrastructure improvements that have happened to our city. And it means making sure our city is both a safe and vibrant place to live. I believe I brought a fresh perspective on City Council, and I ask
Thank you, Chris. That's 1 minute. Next, we have Bonita Zarillo.
Hi, I'm your City Councilor, Bonita Zarillo, and I'm in front of you tonight to ask for your vote for re-election because there's still a lot of work to do to strengthen our local economy. In my term on council, I've worked to include the needs of business in my decisions so that the whole community can benefit from a strong economy. I have addressed the local flavor missing from the city's procurement policy. I've brought the intervener status for the Trans Mountain Pipeline to protect the United Boulevard Employment Corridor. I fully supported the long-term bricks and mortar businesses in our city town center in the discussion about mobile food trucks. I've been part of the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee that brought the SkyTrain event so that businesses could learn how local businesses can benefit from the transit expansion. I have more work to do on your behalf. That is why I'm asking for your support in this election. Let's keep the momentum going and grow our local economy and bring more prosperity to Coquitlam. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dennis Marsden.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Mars, and I'm an independent candidate asking for your support for City Council. My brochure and my website will speak about my experiences. So tonight I want to answer the one question that people are asking me on doorsteps. How do you get a 0% tax increase? In 2013, the city of Coquitlam finished the year with $200 million in the bank. That's we also carry debt of $34 million. We're paying up to 7.3%. This year alone, we will spend $9 million servicing that debt. That $9 million, ladies and gentlemen, is 3 times the amount needed to get to a 0% tax increase. If you had a $50,000 mortgage on your home and $300,000 cash in the bank, would you continue to pay the bank 7%? It's logic like that we need to address at City Hall. On November 15th, please elect Dennis Marsden, your independent council.
Thank you, Dennis. Next is Brent Asmussen.
Thank you for coming out. I'm married, 2 grown children. I'm a bus driver in this community. I've been driving for 24 years in this community. I see people on the ground floor of my bus. I meet everybody. I hear the concerns of my constituents in this community. I see the potential of our city. I'm committed to making sure that your tax dollars are spent wisely. Our neighborhoods are safe. We incorporate environmentally sound development and infrastructure practices and business friendly and continue to improve road and transit options in this city. We all have a voice in local government, and I will carry on with my goal to make sure that your voices are heard. I believe and will continue to ensure that our city's best management practices are open, transparent, and respectful. I'm an independent candidate, not to tie to anything. We're 9 people on council, we should be working as a team of 9, not a team of 5. So on November 15th, vote Brent Atkinson for council. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you to all the candidates. That now concludes the opening statements portion of tonight's debate. We will now enter the debate section. As a reminder, each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to the initial question posed, 30 seconds to ask a question of their opponents, and 30 seconds to respond to an opponent's question. As a point of order, you can refuse to ask a question, however, you cannot refuse to answer a question. Follow-up questions must remain on the topic of the moderator's question. We will draw you back in if you start to deviate. We will now hear from our mayoral candidates, Richard Stewart, Lou Sikora, and Mark Mahovlich. We'll have 12 minutes to vote into this section. Sorry, come on up, the 3 of you, to the 3 podiums. So we'll start with a chamber question, which will be answered by Richard Stewart, then Lou Sikora, then Mark Mahovlich. Okay, what can the city do to stimulate denser commercial development, office space, etc.? Richard?
Actually, we're doing quite a bit in that regard. One of the challenges that we all face in the suburbs is we don't have enough of the office jobs here. One of the big challenge that causes that actually is the amount of office space that gets built downtown. We're working with the regional growth strategy at Metro Vancouver, trying to try to put more of the office space in our suburbs and in our city center. We want the jobs, the office jobs, right here in the city center near SkyTrain stations, where the density of office jobs and the density of residential help support the better use of transit. So we're, in that regard, encouraging development of office space and freeing up some of the requirements the developers might face related to office space.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much. The fact is that, when I was the mayor, I chased businesses to come to Coquitlam. I chased hotels, restaurants, different buildings, and that's what I do, is bring you some office space to Coquitlam. There's no question about it. We cannot be sitting in the office and tweeting to every newspaper, every news media to try to get your name in a paper or get a camera on your neck to get some pictures taken. I'm not going to be that kind of mayor. I'm a hands-on mayor, and I'll be chasing every business that we can bring to Coquitlam. We lost in Coquitlam the last year 500 jobs. How do we do that? Business moved up. The taxes are too high. So certainly, as far as office space is concerned, we've got land right across the city hall, 5.5 acres. That's certainly the prime location for the office space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark Mahovlich. You have 1 minute.
Yes, as a tradesman and a contractor, subcontractor within the city for over 2 decades, the issue is space. We're running out of space. So the main area is to get residential and commercial on the bottom, residential on top, and create a city right within the infrastructure of the actual building. And a lot of buildings now, the high rises, they don't build to accommodate this. They've already, allocated space for the structure. They need to incorporate it with business and office space at the lower levels, i.e. like a 5-story as opposed to just a 20-story high rise. You have different levels. And that has always worked on the jobs that I've seen, and Coquitlam doesn't seem to do that. And that'll densify business with residential, so you can work, basically live above where you work.
Thank you, Mark. That's 1 minute. Richard Stewart, if you'd like to pose a follow-up question, you have 30 seconds to do so.
Since about, for the last decade and a half, we've been, as a council, trying to lower the differential between business rates and business tax rates and residential rates. About a decade and a half ago, it was about 6.5 times the residential rate was what businesses were paying. They were paying 6.5 times the residential tax rate. We've lowered it to about four times the residential tax rate. How would you get it lower than that? How do we accelerate the speed at which we can close that gap?
Thank you, Richard. Mr. Sikora, you have 30 seconds to answer the question.
Thank you very much. The fact is that, the mayor just, he's mixing words. The fact is, when I was the mayor in the 80s and the 90s, the residential taxes was the bottom of 23 municipalities. The commercial taxes were halfway up from 23 municipalities. Now our commercial taxes are way above everywhere in Canada. The residential taxes are about 3/4 of the way. So the mayor can mix a lot of figures and throw figures around, and that's what he's good at. But that's it. No action.
Thank you, Lou. That's 30 seconds. Mark Mahablet, you have 30 seconds to answer the
Yes,
question.
I'll respond to that. As far as I'm concerned, Gordon, the wrong decision to not give the Hollywood producers incentive to film here. We used to shoot a movie. I used to shoot a commercial and movie, 2 or 3 movies, commercials a year, at least a couple of movies a year. And after that, 2008, they decided to go other places in the province and the country.
Mark, can we talk about the discrepancy
Well, what
between?
I'm saying that that'll bring. Sorry, you got down now. You got me off track. So I'll just say that there's other ways of getting.
Okay, well, that's 30 seconds. Mark, I apologize.
Yeah.
Lou Scott would like to pose a question on the original topic for 30 seconds. So on the initial topic of the question, so the denser commercial development, you may now to the other 2 candidates. You have 30 seconds to do so.
Well, really, as far as I'm concerned, there's development coming to Coquitlam, and the only thing I'd say to the mayor is the fact is, why is it that the high rises come in and the industrial and the commercials in the bottom? But guess what? For 4,000 square feet of commercial, there's only 4 parking spaces. Can you imagine that commercial business surviving 4,000 square feet with only?
You got 5
parking
seconds to make it a
spaces?
question.
Those things like that, as the mayor.
Okay, Rich, if you give 30 seconds.
That's not true. Our parking ratio, sorry, it's not true. Our parking ratios are set up in the bylaw. They establish parking ratios for commercial based on square footage, based also on the type of use, because obviously a restaurant of 4,000 square feet is going to need more parking space than, say, a dentist of 4,000 square feet that couldn't have more than 4 or 5, 6 customers at a time. So essentially that's the flexibility that's built into the bylaw, but it also is the strict adherence that is built into the bylaw.
Thank you, Richard. That's 30 seconds. Mark Mahablet, would you like to respond to Mr. Sikora's question?
Yes. First, I'd like to say, I was going to say lower taxes for business to come to Coquitlam as opposed to raise them to push the movie industry.
Okay.
And as far as the parking issue, let's face it, there's no room. So we have to make a level, a stacking parking or underground parking, which is expensive to dig down. So we make elevated parking as similar to the casino in Coquitlam. That'll solve all your problems with parking. All I hear is
Thank you, Mark. That's 30 seconds.
Okay.
If you'd like to pose a question on the stimulation of denser commercial development, you have 30 seconds to do so.
I'd like to propose a question on the development where green spaces there's no concern for green spaces or trees in Coquitlam.
That's not on denser commercial development, if you can stick to that subject, please.
We're still on that topic.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, I thought we were moving
No.
on.
You've got 10 seconds.
No, I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now we'll move to a public question, and we'll just bring it up on the screen here. Okay, so we'll start with Richard Stewart. Do you support a 0% property tax increase?
Absolutely, if we can get our cost increases down to 0%. The challenge, of course, that every municipality faces is we have QP contracts, for example. We had 3 years in a row where the QP increase was 4%, and it's absolutely impossible then to wrestle the tax increase down to 0% if QP gets that kind of raise. We also have, of course, inflation, downloading of costs from the provincial government and the federal government. We just had another download to local government of provincial costs, and we're all trying our best to make sure that we're as efficient as possible. When new costs get dumped on local government, we're stuck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Richard. Lou Sikora, you have 1 minute to
Thank you very
respond.
much. The fact is that, the mayor doesn't know about zero-based budgeting. That's our problem. Guess what? The treasurer comes in to the mayors and the council members says, we're going to start the budget at 3%. You want more police? Oh, it's going to cost you more. You want more firemen? Yeah, it'll cost you more. They don't go to zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting is you start at 0 and you build your budget there. And that's what happens right now. We have $1.6 million for consultant fees. We've got managers coming out our ears. Guess what? They're drawing on the consultant fees to tell them what to do. Well, if I am a businessman, I got managers, what I need consultants to tell our managers what to do. So this city hall is loaded with bureaucrats, just overloaded. That city hall was built for 2025. It was filled up within 3 years. We're not have to go to Ottawa.
Thank you, Luke. Mark Pavlovich, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, I'd like to respond to that. The waste at City Hall is absolutely unacceptable. As a contractor, if I would have ran my business like the city runs theirs, I would have been broken the first week. And the fact is that the amount of money that the mayor has wasted that I'm aware of, and I'm just, you know, I'm just, you know, a person that has been involved with City Hall for about 6 years now, dealing with a multitude of issues: unsafe schools, hazmat exposures, trees disappearing, garbage all over the streets, taxes going up. You know, I mean, there's money that these people at consulting fees are so extreme. I couldn't believe the numbers. And these taxes, they're paying for this. And why is this continuing? I mean, this is absolutely unacceptable. And I have seen it repeatedly in the paperwork I filed, you know, to obtain documents, and also ones I've been sent by City Hall. And it's just absolutely unacceptable. And that is a big reason why taxes continue to go up.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Stewart, would you like to pose a question to the other candidates on this topic? You have 30 seconds to do so.
Okay. Well, actually, let's go to the consultant fees, because of course, if you bring in a consultant, let's say you have you need some expertise on some particular issue, say the engineering of a structure, you bring in a consultant, that's in the consultant budget. If you didn't bring in a consultant, you'd have to hire staff in order to do that, or else who does the work if the consultants, if you don't bring in an engineering consultant to design that structure?
Mr. Sikora, you'll have 30 seconds to respond.
The fact is that, guess what? One of our consultants that was hired as a consultant, he picked the brains of the staff at the work yard. Guess what? He became a manager. They hired him as a manager, a consultant, becoming a manager in the city. That's what happens with our consultant fees. If you want a job, you become a consultant for the city, and then you become a manager of that department. And that's what's happening, Mayor. You're out of control. You're out of control.
Okay, Mr. Sikora, you have 30 seconds. Does that completely refrain from blatantly personal attacks? Mark Pavlovich, would you like to answer the question about consultant fees? You have 30 seconds to do so.
Yes, consulting fees, as again, I'll say, I was Findon, who is a first friend of mine. They created a tree protection or tree management bylaw in 2008, which cost $50,000. I went to City Hall because May Reid wanted to amend that act and waste $50,000 in slaughter.
Yeah, Mark, this is about the 0%.
Okay, anyways, the point is a consulting fee was $20,000 when I went into City Hall to ask for a tree, you know, to look at.
Mark, that's 30 seconds.
And it was $20,000.
Mark, that's 30 seconds. Lou, if you'd like to pose a question on the topic of the 0% property tax increase, you have 30 seconds to do so.
Well, I can tell you, I've got in my brochure the fact that I lowered the budget by 5%. What does that mean on your taxes? 5%. That's what it means. And I can guarantee you that in the first year, I'd go to zero-based budgeting. And our
Mr. Sikora, do you have a question for the other candidates?
Pardon?
Is this a question for the other candidates?
No.
Okay, please pose it as a question.
Okay, the question is for the mayor.
Just, okay.
Okay, one, right here. This little paper that you put out in Snap.
Okay, we can get to the question there under 30 seconds.
It's got figures in here. It's got figures here that totally untrue. Why would you put fictitious figures in there?
Yeah, okay, Luke, that's it. We're cut off here. So unfortunately, Richard, if you'd like to respond to what is there, you have 30 seconds.
It's going to be hard for Mark to answer that question.
Yeah,
okay.
But I didn't put anything fictitious in there, and actually, I know you raised those questions. You raised them last night. You, for example, said we didn't hire 34 cops. We've gotten rid of cops, and in fact, it's very obvious that we can show every single year that we have brought in new police. In fact, 3 years in a row, we brought in 6 new police officers for a total of 34. Same thing with the fire that you criticized or that you questioned last night. We brought in 2 companies of firefighters. There are 20 firefighters.
Thank you, Richard. That's 30 seconds. Mark, would you like to comment on that at all? You have 30 seconds.
Can you repeat the question? I just want to make sure, because the last time you asked a question and I didn't quite understand. Okay, as far as the police and fire, how am I do not know, because I'm not working at City Hall. I do not know what the numbers are. That is not what I've been involved in as far as issues at City Hall. So I can't comment on that.
Okay. Would you like then to pose a question to the other candidates on the support of a 0% property tax increase? So you have 30 seconds to do it.
I'm supportive of 0% property tax. I assume that that's how City Hall works. It's like a Crown Corporation's philosophy was in the past, is not to make money, but not to lose money. And so if you manage money properly,
You have 15 seconds to make a question.
you can get a 0% tax. Question, now what is the basis of this question I'm supposed to ask?
I'm sorry, your 30 seconds is complete. You were supposed to ask a question to other candidates on that topic.
Okay, well, I'll ask Richard, how do you propose to
On that question. Okay, I think. Okay, we have completed our 12 minutes. I thank the mayoral candidates for their time here. You may now return to your seat. We'll now invite Neil Nicholson, May Reed, and Justin Kim to the podium, please. All right, so same format, we'll start with one of the chamber questions. The chamber question is, what other sources of revenue can the city use to decrease the burden on taxpayers? Neil Nicholson, you have 1 minute.
It's on my mind all the time, and I don't have any really great answers. We get about 8% of the total taxes that are levied across the country, and we have to try and serve all the needs of our community of that small, basic amount of tax levied really on only one base, property taxes on business and residential. We need, Union of BC Municipalities has prepared a paper called Strong Fiscal Futures that challenges the provincial government to sit down with them and agree on finding additional sources of revenue, better ways to provide resources to municipalities. We can't do it on our own. We can't decide that we'll levy an income tax, any of those kinds of things. Business licenses are intended to fairly cover the cost of managing businesses within the city. So we have to look.
Thank you, Neil. That's 1 minute. May Reed, you have 1 minute.
There are a few things we can do. One of the things actually deals with something that's been very much on everyone's mind here, which is providing houses at low affordability. We have some land that we have set aside for affordability. I will not give it away for affordable housing, but I sure will rent it out for 50 years. And I can rent it out at a very low interest cost, which would certainly help us get partners to build the affordable housing we need, but still retain the ownership of the land and get a modest income. And I believe, as Neil has said, without legislative changes, we are really hampered to do very much of anything. We tried to do fees, of course, the parking fees, and they're terrible and they don't pay for themselves. We subsidize most of the swimming parks, all those recreational facilities we do. So we are quite hampered in things that we can do to make money on.
Thank you, May. Justin Kim, I think we hold the pause in this section for the end. Justin, you have 1 minute.
Yes, I think it's not necessary to increase tax if the city is managed well. I believe it was managed well, and if you don't have money, if you don't have a budget to spend accordingly for the expenditures, then everybody in the city will go bankrupt, right? So basically, there are no cuts to the existing services. Then we're happy when the city can maximize its revenue from other sources, reduce the impact of the capital financing, and implement a moderate municipal property tax, which will be in line with the inflation, of course. I think it can run as smoothly as possible without increasing taxes. One of the creative solutions I'm proposing is encourage growth in high-tech sector so that the startup companies or big brands.
Thank you, Justin. That's 1 minute. And if you'd like to pose, or sorry, Neil, if you'd like to pose a question on that subject to the other candidates, you have 30 seconds to do so.
I'd actually like to pose the original question to Mr. Kim, because the question, as I recall it, was where will you find other sources of revenue? I could have responded about ways that we could try to cut expenses, maybe pay councillors a little less, all kinds of. I don't think there are a lot of places we can cut expenses. I could have talked about
So the
that.
question
But
is-
I'd like to hear from Mr. Kim about additional sources of revenue.
Okay, so Justin, you have 30 seconds to respond, and then maybe you will also respond.
Thank you, Neil. Very good question. Some of you know, may already know or not know about the great infrastructure that we have in Coquitlam. It's called the fiber optic infrastructure. We have it in place. What that means is it's a ultra fast internet infrastructure in Coquitlam. We have that, and we must take advantage of it and promote it to attract more.
Thank you, Justin. That's 30 seconds. May, you'd like to respond. 30 seconds.
Thanks, Justin, that was a very good answer. We do have the fiber optic, and that is going to more help deliver service to our community, more so than raise funds. The other thing we do is we try and stop having to pay for amenities. So we have tagged CACs onto all our developments, especially in the town center, to take money from the developers and not from your pockets. And that doesn't exactly put money in, but it's sure saving us coming up.
Thank you, May. That's 30 seconds. Now, May, if you'd like to pose a question to the other candidates on the initial topic, you have 30 seconds to do so.
I'm sorry?
If you'd like to pose a question to the other candidates on other sources of revenue, you have 30 seconds.
If anyone can figure out how we can lobby the province or the feds to allow us to put hotel taxes on, I mean, I can think of lots of things I'd like to tax. So
Can you pose a question? Okay. Neil, if you'd like to
Well, I'm
respond
trying
to
to
30
tell
seconds.
that it's not in my nature to think of things to tax, it's in my nature to think of how to not pay those taxes. And I think hotel taxes, we want to encourage tourism. So taxation that reduces our economic opportunities is not my choice. I think broader solutions from the province, I think I said before, allowing us access to some of their sources.
Thank you, Neil. That's
of
30
revenue.
seconds. Justin, if you'd like to respond, you have 30 seconds.
Yes, I want to elaborate more about the high-tech sector, but later on, when I get elected, I'll propose some solution there. We may think Coquitlam has a great heritage.
If you could respond to May's question about hotel tax.
Hotel taxes, no, I don't have a further comment for that.
Okay, thank you. Justin, if you'd like to pose a question to the other candidates.
I don't have
on
a
other sources of revenue. No? Okay. Then we'll move on now to the public question, which Aaron will post up on screen. That is, we'll start with Neil. So currently 6 and 7-year-olds have to be at the hockey rink at 5:45 a.m. due to the lack of ice within the city. What are your plans to develop more ice arenas? You have 1 minute.
I must be one of the few Canadians who didn't play hockey as a youth. But I still think it's important for us to have ice and to have opportunities for people who play all kinds of sports. The city's in the middle of developing a Parks, Rec, and Culture master plan. And unless we have a master plan so that we develop what we need as we need it, so that we can establish our priorities with input from all our people, and Lord knows we hear from the ice users. But to run out and start building arenas without knowing what our other priorities are, where they most logically would go, we don't have anything in the city center, and personally think that would be a good place to start. We're going to be faced with dealing with either purchasing or a collapsing plan of ice. We're going to lose ice space. We've got to come up with a plan, but we can't start without the plan, and that's.
Thank you, Neil.
where
That's
we
1
need
minute.
consultants.
May, if you'd like to respond, you have
Well,
1 minute.
unlike some members of council, I don't feel it's my job to sit on my duff and hope that everything comes into the city. I go out and look for it. I have, as I know the mayor knows and other folks know, I'm out busy talking to the big boys, the ones with the money, the ones that want to develop rings, the one that wants to develop something fabulous in the town center that I can use for a tourism opportunity, and I can have giant ice, because that's what we need. And that's what I believe my job is not to sit here, to go out and do my job for you outside the community. I am a salesman. I try to be. I try to get money. If I want a facility in this city, I go after it. I don't sit and wait.
Thank you, May. Justin, if you'd like to respond to the question on the screen, you have a minute.
Yes, I come from a big hockey town, Montreal. When I landed in 1992 there, they won the cup. So I'm a big fan of hockey. But I came to a bigger hockey town, which is Vancouver. And I support that idea. And also I agree with May, trying to look for other guys, the big names, other government levels, or the private sectors to invest. But where to invest? I've heard Bird Mountain has a Partington Creek plan development going on there. The discussion, but we don't want to waste your money. We don't want to. We want to consult everybody, and we want to respect your views and your dollars. So basically, that's what I would approach. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I apologize, candidates who are up against the clock. We did not have time for open questions on this one, so I'll ask you to return to your seats now.
Thank you.
The next candidates are Chauvinier, Craig Hodge, and Andy Shannon. So again, we will start with the question from the chamber, which is, what can the city do to create diversity in the housing market, increase market rental, different quality of living, etc.? Craig, if you'd like to start us off, you have 1 minute.
Okay, well, I think the main thing is that we do need to have a variety of housing. There's a number of options that we can pursue. The main thing is that we have to work and look for partnerships. Because this is not something that the city can do on its own. I think we have to look for partnerships with senior levels of government. We have to work with developers through bonus density and other options. We have to work with our nonprofits, because housing is an important thing for the community as a whole. We need affordable housing for our workforce. We need a variety of housing for our seniors. Some seniors who are downsizing their homes. Some seniors are just wanting a place that they can rent because they don't want to tie up their capital in their retirement years in housing. So I think we have to offer a whole wide range of housing choices. We also have to make sure it's affordable. One of the ways to make housing affordable is to find and place it in places where it's affordable to live. Because next to the cost of housing,
Craig, that's 1 minute. Andy, if you'd like to respond, you have 1 minute.
Thank you for the question. I think that Coquitlam already has a diverse market. We have townhouses, we have apartments, we have monster houses, whatever you can find in Coquitlam. Believe it or not, we don't actually own the land that they're developing on. When they want to develop an apartment building, they actually come to the city and say, we want to do this. We go forward with a public hearing, and council gets to decide whether, say, a 22-story building in the middle of Austin works over there. I think that we need to basically open up the market. There needs to be affordable housing in Coquitlam. There's no question about that. I think that at City Hall, they need to remove red tape, make housing more affordable so that you can live in basement suites, so that people can, for example, nanny suites. I was just talking to somebody a few days ago about that. They want to see their grandparents living with them and basically have their whole family together. But right now, the city doesn't allow that because, for example,
thank you, Andy. That's 1 minute. Shobha, if you'd like to respond to the question, you have 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. Yes, affordability is a huge issue, and we need to be very innovative to have different type of housing, variety of housing, like Frank said, so that it cater to the children, young adults and the young families, and also aging population. Moreover, we need some housing for elderly, aging population who have accessibility issue, because I know my father was wheelchair bound. When we came here, we did not have enough houses apartment building which had a bigger bathrooms and also that it can maneuver the wheelchair. So we really need to cater to different demographics, and also I feel affordability is not only an issue in this municipalities. Our neighboring municipalities also have that issue. We need to work together to put pressure on the higher level.
Thank you, Shobha. That's 1 minute. Greg, if you'd like to pose a question on what the city can do to create diversity in the housing market to the other candidates, you have 30 seconds to do so.
Yes, I'll ask Andy, what do you think the role is of the city and other levels of government? What do you think that we can actually do to address the problem?
Thank you, Greg. Andy, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you, Craig. I think that the role of the city is not to build, it's to plan. The city often gets that confused and they start with construction projects. And for example, Corey, the city built that and you get cost overruns. If we leave it to the private sector, that's their problem. And if there's cost overrun, they have to basically write it off because it's not our fault that they overestimated. I think that the city with...
Thank you, Andy. That's 30 seconds. Shobha, although what directed you'd like to respond, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I feel city has a very limited resources for that, and I don't know if city has a responsibility. But however, city can play a role in, again, working with a higher level of government or putting pressure on it, or maybe negotiating with them.
Thank you, Shobha. Andy, on the subject of what the city can do to create diversity in the housing market, you have 30 seconds to pose a question to the other candidates.
Okay, my question is going to be about affordable housing. Now, for Shobha, your biggest endorser, MP Finn Donnelly, wants to basically take money from the rich to give to the poor. Do you agree that that's the way that affordable housing should be built in Coquitlam?
Shobha, you have 30 seconds to respond. Shobha.
The federal NDP strategy is basically to tax the rich to give money to the poor to subsidize their housing. Do you think that should be in Coquitlam? Do you think that we
Andy, thank you. Andy, Shobha, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question as you understand it.
Actually, I don't have a response to that. I don't think you need to tax the rich to fund the poor.
Okay, thank you, Shobha. Craig, if you'd like to contribute to that, you have 30 seconds to do so.
No, I think there's a role for developers to play in this. Certainly, if they're knocking down buildings and we're losing some of the affordable houses, particularly up in the Cottonwood area, where we're going to lose 10% of the affordable housing, 10% of the rental in the whole Tri-Cities, we have a chance, potential to lose that. So I think that when developers come in there, and not just the ones who build on that piece of property, because they shouldn't be penalized, but I think all developers, as they build, should contribute.
Thank you, Craig. That's 30 seconds. Thank you very much. Shobha, if you'd like to pose a question on what the city can do, 30 seconds.
I have a question for Andy. What's your plan to accommodate displaced renters? Displaced renters? Yeah.
Thank you, Shobha. Andy, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question.
I think that for displaced renters, we need to make it more convenient for them to stay within the city. But we're not going to subsidize those people if they can't live here. There's lots of housing in Port Coquitlam, Port Moody that they can stay at. In fact, on Birch Mountain, I'm not saying Port Moody is poor, but I'm just saying they have cheaper units. We also have affordable housing on Birch Mountain, and also those are up for rent. It's up to the renter to decide where they want to stay. I can't force them.
Thank you, Andy. That's 30 seconds. Craig, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have to do is never again allow a heavy concentration of one type of housing in one area. And this is the problem we're facing in Coquitlam right now, is with the one building coming down, we're losing a big chunk of our housing. So I think what we need to do is we have to look for areas throughout Coquitlam, throughout the Tri-Cities, areas where it's affordable to live, areas where it's near a transit line, where it's near shopping, so that people don't have to have a car to live in those areas. And I think by doing that, we create diversity throughout our community, and we don't.
Thank you, Craig. That's 30 seconds. Okay, we have time for one public question, so we'll bring that up on the screen. So Craig, if you'd like to start, have you received significant campaign funding from local unions? Will you recuse yourselves from votes involving union contracts? If not, do you consider it a conflict? You have 1 minute to respond to the question.
Okay, so I'm being endorsed by about 30 different sports groups. I'm being endorsed by a number of different groups,
probably more endorsements than any of the other candidates. I'm also being endorsed by the local union of QP, and I'm also being endorsed by the firefighters. But I'm being endorsed as an independent candidate. I believe that I'm somebody who brings balance to council, and I think that's reflected in the balance in my funding. The question is significant funding? No. Less than 5% of my total funding is going to come from unions. In fact, none of my funding, no single source is going to donate more than 10% to my campaign, because I want to make sure that I receive balanced funding so that I'm not placed in a conflict where I'm beholden to one specific group or developer or somebody else. And I think the key is just to have balance.
Thank you, Craig. Andy, you have
That's a great question. No, I have not received any campaign financing from QP or any other. Be the last person out of everybody here to do it. I work for a conservative member of Parliament, and we stand up for the hardworking taxpayers of Coquitlam, not QP, not PSAC, not any other labor union. We stand up for you, the taxpayers. And
if you remember to focus on the question, please, whether or not you are funded, you will recruit yourself.
And because I stand up for taxpayers, I'm not going to be in a conflict of interest because I represent you, not any other association. And that's very important in our government.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Shoba, you have 1 minute to respond to the question.
Yes, I had an endorsement from QP. However, I also got endorsement from developers. So I don't, just because I got it from QP, I don't have to be, I'm not indebted to them at all. I am only answerable to the public, Coquitlam citizens, because they are the one who's electing me. They believe, the QP is giving me endorsement because they believe in my vision. They believe in our team's vision. They want the best, they want the best for Coquitlam. So, and what's the next question? Yeah, I don't think it's a, I don't think it's a conflict. Same way, builders endorse me. I'm not going to support all the, their projects. That's all.
Thank you, Shoba. Once again, we are up against the clock. We'll invite a round of applause for the candidates. Next, we have Jack Tremblay, Terry Towner, and Terry Towner. Well, there's no party is not here, so it'll just be the two candidates. Great, so again, we will start with the chamber proposed question, which is, do you support incineration in Metro Vancouver's solid waste management plan? Terry, if you'd like to start us off, you have 1 minute.
Do I support Metro Vancouver's incineration plan?
Do you support incineration in Metro Vancouver's solid waste management plan?
That's one thing I haven't done a lot of research on, but in a nutshell is no. From other, my attitude is I'm not an expert in everything yet, but I'm passionate about finding the best solution and talking to the people who are the experts, talking to the residents, talking to Metro, talking to everybody involved to come up with the best solution for that issue. So to answer, what is it? Do I support it?
Yep.
If that's the route that is decided is the best route, then I should talk to everybody involved.
Thank you, Terry. Jack, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah.
Right up there, we have a company coming to Coquitlam who wants to open up a recycling group. They want to create 80 jobs in Coquitlam. They want to throw their own money in, so there's no risk to the community. Metro wants to spend $500 million of your money to create a gasification plant for incineration, and you got to feed the beast. We're sitting at about probably 60 some odd recycling, percent recycling. Let's take it up to 90, 95 and talk about that. I'm not prepared to waste your money on $500 million when the company's going to be out there. They'll pay for it themselves, create 80 jobs. Everybody wins. We recycle. Everybody gets a clean health, bill of health. It just makes perfect sense. Don't get into the rest. So I don't support that at all. It's unhealthy.
Thank you, Jack. Terry, would you like to pose a question on that? You have 30 seconds to do so.
Jack's done his research. He knows more about it than I do. So what's the solution then, besides?
Well, the solution is recycling. We all got our new garbage cans. We all have a bit to commit to. It's not about a few people doing a lot, it's about everybody doing a little. And we're doing our part to recycling our garbage, our organics. I'm at home, I got 2 kids and my wife at home, there's 4 of us. And once a week we have a little kitchen catch with plastic after we recycle it. So it's important we do them. There's a company out there that wants to create 80 jobs, and Coquitlam do that without any cost to us. I think it's a win-win-win.
Thank you, Jack. Do you have a question for Terry? You have 30 seconds to pose it.
No, I don't actually. I appreciate you coming together on this, and I know it's a hard job, so thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Move into we're not going to move into an audience question. Oh. Okay, while we're pulling them up, we'll remind everybody in the audience, if you'd like to use the slips of paper to pose your questions, you can raise them up now and one of the volunteers will come and gather them. And now we will move to one of the pigeonhole questions. Okay, there we go. So what will you do specifically to work with the school district to get more schools and transportation in Burke Mountain? So Jack, let's give you 1 minute to answer that question.
Yeah, it's a hard challenge. I mean, I know I have a wife who's working in School District 43, and there's a challenge with budgets there. It's about partnership. As chair of the library board, we partner up with the school district on literacy and come together. It's not easy. At this point in time, my issue is with that Burke Mountain, it was an interesting plan and people moved up there. I have friends moved up there who saw this proposed school up there, and it was just a piece of paper. And they're angry because by the time the kids graduate, the school will finally be built. So there has to be decent execution and implementation by our partners, by our developers, by the school district, and by the city to make sure when we put subdivisions in and communities in, it all goes in together. And that's been the problem, the poor execution of Burke Mountain.
Thank you, Jack. Terry, you have 1 minute to respond.
I created a Burke Mountain specific brochure addressing these issues. Burke Mountain's been shortchanged. I think we have no more development anymore in Coquitlam, so we can't really learn from this in the future but we should have had the schools and the transit and the amenities, everything figured out first before people moved up, because hundreds of kids every day in Burke Mountain are driven off the mountain to go to school, and there's people up there that need to take the bus to get to work, the university, and there's no buses. So my platform on that is, again, it's not, we have to work with TransLink, we have to work with the province regarding schools and tell them that, hey, don't ignore the northeast sectors. These are amenities that we need to service our residents, and we just have to keep those relationships going and keep the awareness going and work with them to get them. I will advocate as much as I can.
Thank you, Terry. Jack, you have 30 seconds to pose a question.
Yeah, so what, any details you have in terms of what we could do with the bus service up there besides just working together?
Terry, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question.
We have to prove to them that we need the buses, give them some stats. I think it's too bad that we don't have the buses up there now, because now people have fallen into that habit of driving their cars. And so now if we do get the buses, the habit's formed. So specific, I mean, hey, if I could just come up with the money to get the buses up there, I would, but when you're dealing with another party, no.
Thank you, Terry. You have 30 seconds to pose a question to Jack on the subject.
Do you have any specific solutions?
Jack, 30 seconds.
My experience over the years, 30 years in banking, is working with a team and working with the chair and the library board. It's about partnership, and it's about holding people's feet to the fire, and it's about execution. If you can't do it, you don't do it. That's the bottom line. And you got to draw the line in the sand with developers. You got to draw the line in the school district. And if the school district says enough, you got to propose a proposed school in there, then they do it. If they don't do it, then the development slows down and stops until you execute and everybody's up there happy. Right now, it's a bit of a dog's breakfast up there, and because it's lack of partnership, it's lack.
Thank you, Jack. That's 30 seconds. We'll now move to a question posed from the audience, which is describe the way this council will engage with the Auditor General for local governments. Terry, you will have 1 minute to respond to the question.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Which way?
It's right up on the board there.
Engage the Auditor General. Oh, I'm getting all the good ones tonight, but I know. We will engage collaboratively, and what's that about? I don't know what they're really asking there. How will we engage?
Yeah.
So it's a brand new, oh, right, yeah, it's a brand new agency, okay. How will we engage? We'll meet, we'll get to know what the mandate is, and we'll talk about it. I don't even know what it is. Sorry, haven't even heard that word in this whole campaign.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Jack, you have 1 minute to respond to the
I think
question.
for me, as a bank auditor, I think it's part of that fiscal responsibility at the local government level. I think we need to demonstrate to the province that we've got our books in order, that we're running our organizations well in our communities and providing good services to our community. And we're not wildly throwing our tax all over the place. To be very specific on how we focus on that. We've done that at the library. We have a $4.5 million budget, which is increased, providing better service, as well as longer hours. It starts there, and you work up to City Hall, and you let the local governments, the provincial governments, tell them what we're doing. And if they have confidence in you, they'll leave you alone, because you're running a good organization when it comes to cities.
Thank you, Jack. Good. That concludes the section for Terry Towner and Jack Chumley. Next up, we'll invite Ben Craig, Terry O'Neill, and Chris Wilson. So we'll start with the chamber posed question. What is your vision for the future of the Coquitlam area around SkyTrain? Chris, you will have 1 minute to respond.
We need an amazing, complete, walkable community. It's extremely frustrating that we don't actually have a solid plan for that area. We're losing so much of our low-cost rental housing in that area, and we don't even have a rental replacement policy at this point. So it's extremely frustrating to me. I think we need to work extremely hard over the next while to develop that rental replacement policy, to work with developers so that we can actually replace some of that rental housing. And the other part of it is the whole commercial side of it. Beauregard owns that whole strip mall, and we have to really work with them. We can have an amazing community that's even better than Newport Village, because they own so much space, but we have to work with them to make sure that they have the same kind of vision that our community has. And that'll come once we have our community plan done and once we get to work with them.
Thank you, Chris. Terry, you have 1 minute to respond to the budget.
Yeah, and thank goodness we actually have three plans in place for Coquitlam: the old community plan, the new transit-oriented development strategy, and we have neighborhood development guidelines that give us a vision of what we want it to look like. And we're going to see a lot of high density right around the SkyTrain station, and more medium density as it spirals up from there. Around the high density, the key, and somebody mentioned this earlier tonight, is making sure that the platforms that those high density condo towers and rental towers are built on, that those platforms have commercial space, restaurants, all sorts, to animate the street, to bring it to life. We've got a vision there to make sure there are little parks in there, benches, trees, little public art as well in there. So I think it's very exciting for us to look forward to. There's going to be a lot of change in the coming years, without a doubt, but I think it's going to be changed for the better.
Thank you, Terry. Ben, you have 1 minute to respond to the question.
Thanks. With due respect, Councillor O'Neill, there is no vision for Coquitlam right now. The last community update was issued in 2002. Didn't factor in the thousands of new residents that are coming to the region, nor the Evergreen line. And as it stands with City Hall, they're approving a high-rise here and a high-rise there and a high-rise there without an overarching plan in place. Now, I'm a financial planner. I wouldn't dream of making an individual recommendation to you without an overall understanding of your financial position. I think that's the approach that City Hall has to take here. There has to be, we can't just approve these high-rises in isolation. We have to approve them in the context of a plan. I've been for Coquitlam. I live in Coquitlam, so I think a lot about this. I see an area with that retains a tight community feel to it. You know, more wood and brick and glass and steel. I see a cultural array of restaurants there, but local businesses and a commercial hub, but not big box. You know, local retailers to give our local industry business. Perhaps a high-tech sector that flows from.
Thank you, Ben. That's 1 minute. Chris, if you'd like to pose a question on vision for the future of the Coquitlam area to the other candidates, you have 30 seconds to do so.
We have a real shortage of low-cost rental housing in our city. And through the development of the Coquitlam area, we're going to be displacing almost 700 families and elderly people who are low-income people and need a place to live. So my question is, what will you do to, where do you think those low-income families should go once we displace them?
Yeah,
Terry, you have 30 seconds to respond to that.
I'm very happy to see that the developers on their own and with the guidance of the city says guidelines have a rental replacement in place that they are helping people move. We also know that up to 40% of the condominium towers are going to, the units in the towers are going to be rented out. We also know that in the surrounding areas, it's replete with basement suites. So there's a lot of rental. There's actually more rental in Coquitlam now than there's ever been.
Thank you, Terry. That's 30 seconds. Ben, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question.
Thank you. So Coquitlam holds about 25% of the total rental stock in our city, right there in my region. And I think we have a tremendous opportunity in the coming years to partner with developers and make sure that not one of our rental units is displaced. But we have to send a strong message to developers, and it's not just in Coquitlam, but the rest of the city, that it's not just about building high density to accommodate market demand. It's about joining a community. It's about fitting into that community.
Thank you, Ben. That's 30 seconds.
Better.
Thank you. Terry, you have 30 seconds to pose a question on the future of the Coquitlam area around SkyTrain.
Yes, I'd like to know from Mr. Craig, and I think Mr. Ben Craig and Mr. Wilson, about how specific do you think the planning should be? You said that there's no, that we don't have a specific plan for exactly where the skyscrapers should go, exactly where the condo towers should go. Do you want us to micromanage every little bit? Do you want us to actually develop those buildings? Or do you want us to do what cities all around the world do and have zoning in place?
Thank you, Terry. Ben, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. You know, we do have a community plan in place, but it's from 2002. And we're waiting to get this community plan updated, and I'm involved in that process. We won't see a plan there for another 2-3 years. By 2-3 years' time, we're going to see thousands of new residents in that area. That, to me, is putting the cart before the horse. The city did a very clever thing a few years ago and introduced something called the transit development strategy, transit-oriented development strategy, which essentially gives a green light to high density around SkyTrain stations without a community plan in place. That was, to me, a move that
Thank you, Ben. Chris, if you'd like to respond, you have 30 seconds.
I think if you compare Newport Village to our town center, you see a great complete community in Newport, and you see our town center, which is just a hodgepodge of buildings because we don't have the concrete plan. And I think what we can do in Coquitlam with a very specific plan is to have a community that's even better than Newport Village. So I think it should be specific.
Thank you, Chris. Ben, you have 30 seconds to pose a question on the future of the Coquitlam area around SkyTrain.
So I'd like to ask our two councillors how it came about that our Coquitlam community plan, which is clearly stale dated from 2002, how it came about that we've managed to approve thousands of new residents into the area through the transit development strategy without a community plan in place. How did that come about, and what was the stream of consciousness that came to that? Thank you. Councillor O'Neill?
Thank you, Ben. Actually, Chris will answer the question first, please. 30 seconds.
In my year on council, I've seen that all we do, it seems all we do in our city is react. I think we have to have a much stronger vision. We have to put more resources in so that we can get ahead of the game and not have a situation like this where we've known for 5 years what the route's going to be and we don't have a plan in place that is satisfying for all residents in that area. So really, for me, it's a stronger vision for the city. It's bringing more business to our community, and it's getting ahead of the ball.
Thank you very much, Chris. Terry, you have 30 seconds.
So we're getting another contradiction in terms here, like a 0% increase that we heard earlier tonight. That 0% is not an increase. You say there's no plan, but there's an old plan. Oh, there's no plan, but there's a new TDS. You know, can't have it both ways here. There are plans in place. That plan is being updated. Those decisions were made on the basis of the plans that are in place. 2 plans passed by council after a lot of public consultation, including...
Thank you, Terry. That's 30 seconds. We will now move to a pigeonhole posed question. So, Chris Wilson, we'll invite you to answer the question of what are your views on the future of the Riverview lands? You have 1 minute to do so.
I'm really excited about the potential of Riverview. There's a great consultation process going on right now that the province is doing. It's very broad, and it's talking a lot about more mental health treatment. It's talking about addictions treatment. It's talking about a wellness center. And to me, that's what our community wants. That's what our community needs. That's what the whole Lower Mainland needs.
Chris, you can go ahead and answer the question the way it's posed, not from the audience.
We are paying for it right now in the costs to our taxpayers. It costs more for somebody to live on the streets and deal with all their mental health issues than it does to house them. So in my opinion, it's an investment in the future. It's about a caring society, and it's about showing people that you care about the people in your community.
I'm going to take that ball and run with it. Well stated. If there's one thing that I've become really educated on since I got in council 3 years, it is Riverview. And I've become a big convert to the vision that the city has endorsed for Riverview. You know, we spent a lot of time talking. There was a great report a decade ago and another report that's just come up that puts forward our vision for a mental health and a wellness society, wellness structures there. At the same time, preserving the amazing landscape that's there and the amazing trees that are there. So we have an amazing opportunity, another word, amazing, because the provincial government, unlike all around the province, has decided not to sell this land off, but to listen to Coquitlam, because we've taken a strong position to find out what we want to do with it. And they've said repeatedly that they're going to listen, and they're listening to you, and they're listening to us. And I think that we're going to have really an amazing place there in a few years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can hold your time, please. Ben, you have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you. So the Riverview lands, I understand that there was a fairly expensive paper written recently about the future of the plan, the future of the lands, which contains some pretty grandiose ideas about a fabulous world-class facility, which sounds terrific on paper, but we have to be honest here, folks. We have to balance the needs of the taxpayer with the needs of our mentally ill. You know, I believe that it is in our moral interest to take care of our mentally challenged in the early stages, because it costs society less money in the long term. However, we need to make sure that this facility doesn't continue to be, you know, a drain on our resources. So I believe that we can develop the perimeter of Riverview and create that world-class facility paid for by the development on the perimeter. I know it's a bad word and fairly unpopular, but we have to be realistic here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. So you were just waiting for the mayor, then, okay? We have to your seats. We are now complete with this section. We have Benita Cirillo, Dennis Marsden, and Brent Asmunsen. We'll start with the chamber question, which is: the Evergreen line is currently designed to bring people out of Coquitlam in the morning and back in the evening. How can the city facilitate two-way traffic on the Evergreen line? Benita, if you'd like to answer, you have 1 minute.
Well, to start with, I'm under the impression that Transit has already started their planning for bus connections at the key times. So that would be the first point. The second one is the vision for Coquitlam, and as we have for Coquitlam right now, is that people won't leave Coquitlam every morning and come home every night. The vision is to move towards a city that is totally inclusive, where people can live, work, and play. And hopefully that the SkyTrain will be used throughout the day. It may even be used just to go from Coquitlam right to town center. So I'm very, very hopeful, and this is where I'm positioned, and everyone that I'm speaking to on the doorstep is positioned as let's not leave in the morning and come home in the evening.
Thank you, Benita. Dennis, you have 1 minute.
That's a great question. I think Coquitlam's done a great job of attracting retail jobs. What we need to do is take a look at the areas around our transit, around the Evergreen lines, and ensure that in the towers that we're building there, we are including a component of office space. I was talking with a gentleman recently with 25,000 square feet of office space in Coquitlam, where he was going to have about 100 people, typically making about $60,000 to $80,000 a year. And we don't have the space for it. So when we look at these transit hubs, this is the opportunity to build the office space that is going to attract the businesses that are actually going to pay the salaries necessary that we can actually afford to live, work, and play here in Coquitlam. So it's all about the opportunities that we put together, the vision that we have when the developers come calling. We tell them this is the direction we would like to go.
Thank you, Dennis. The question is, the Evergreen line is currently designed to bring people out of Coquitlam in the morning and back in the evening. How can the city facilitate two-way traffic on the Evergreen line?
Facilitate two-way traffic on the Evergreen line?
We're trying to keep people in Coquitlam. We have a plan for the city of Coquitlam to attract jobs. We have an economic development manager working on bringing jobs, retaining jobs, bringing jobs to Coquitlam so people don't have to live in this community. As for transit and moving people to and from SkyTrain, we need to work and lobby TransLink for better bus service to get people to SkyTrain, better connections, better parking, so people have a greater ease of getting to the stations and getting to their destinations where they need to go. People have many different needs. If they're working here, they may have meetings in Burnaby, Vancouver. They need quick, easy access. We need to reduce the congestion on our roads. Better transit, more service, more bus service connecting to the stations is a way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Benita, you now have 30 seconds to pose a question to the other candidates on the topic.
Great. My question relates to the SkyTrain stations. Is that going to fall within?
Mm-hmm.
Would you support sharing some of the Pinetree corridor funding to enhance what's happening at the Coquitlam area?
Thank you, Benita. Dennis, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Are you referring to the development cost charges that are being utilized?
I'm referring to the 14 million that's being budgeted just for the Pinetree corridor. Would you be willing to share some of that with Coquitlam to see something happen over there?
I think if you looked at the vision for Pinetree, when I first looked at it, I heard $14 million. It scared the crap out of me. You know, it's a lot of money. It's developer money. It was designed to try and beautify the area and try and create an area that we can attract people to, that we can develop a community section that will serve as a focal point of our downtown core. So I think there's certainly a significant development available.
30 seconds.
To go in that direction. And
Dennis, that's 30 seconds. Brent, you have 30 seconds to respond to Benita's question.
There are two separate needs. I think the need is the fact that in the Coquitlam area, the guideway work for $4 million being spent there is at the center of the roadway in a median. In the Pinetree area, we have a pathway, walkway connecting all the way up Pinetree from Guildford, and we're making it as best as possible in that area. They're two different things, two different costs. They're not costing the taxpayer anything. They're coming from development cost charges and from casino and other revenues, not the taxpayer. But they're two different things. One's built down the center. You can't make pathways and walkways the same.
Thank you, Brent. That's 30 seconds. Dennis, you have 30 seconds to pose a question on the topic for the other candidates.
the question was with regards to two-way traffic, which would indicate actual employment generation in the town center area. So I'd like to ask, what is your specific plan to develop employment opportunities in the town center area?
Thank you very much. Brent, you have 30 seconds to respond to this question.
We have been working and trying to streamline our city operations to make our city the best and most friendliest place in the world, in the area to live, to work, I should say. We, in 2013, won the provincial award, 5 cities, for the Open for Business Award. We must continue to make our city more effective and attracting businesses in how we operate and how we streamline our processes. We're presently going through our industrial land from 9 zones down to 3 zones to make it more easier for developers to come in.
Thank you, Brent. That's 30 seconds. Bonita, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question.
I've got quite a few, but I'll just mention, first of all, limiting the mobile food trucks in the core. We need to make sure that we have steady restaurants, restaurants that can make it. So definitely limiting that. Also some leniency on paid parking in town center right now. We need to be helping those businesses over the first 2 or 3 years or before the SkyTrain gets here so that they're still here when the SkyTrain gets here. The other thing is, I think as a council and mayor, we need to be out recruiting companies, businesses to come to Coquitlam, and we just haven't, I haven't seen that done.
Thank you, Bonita. That's 30 seconds. Brent, you have 30 seconds to pose a question to the candidates on the topic.
The question is, how do we get more businesses? How do we grow jobs in this community? What are your specific plans and ideas to attract businesses and grow jobs in this community?
Thank you, Brent. Bonita, you have 30 seconds to respond.
It starts with a marketing plan. We have QNet fiber optic. We're not using it to its fullest capacity. It's probably the most revenue, economy generating thing that we can bring to Coquitlam right now in regards to good paying jobs. We can bring lots of retail to Coquitlam. We can probably bring it pretty easily, but it will not feed a family. The QNet needs to be explored. We need a marketing plan, and we need a strong leader of our city that will go out and recruit business to Coquitlam the way other cities are doing around us.
Thank you, Bonita. Dennis, you have 30 seconds to respond to the question.
We're fortunate. We've got an incredibly intelligent and talented manager of economic development. And there's companies out there, site selection companies, that go and they work with companies that are looking to relocate. Our role is not for council to run out and do it. We're already paying a staff member to do that. So let's give him the tools necessary to go out and market Coquitlam to ensure that he's presenting us in a way that businesses look and say, there's some place for me to come to. It is truly business friendly, and the tax.
Thank you, Dennis. That's 30 seconds. Dennis, thank you. Thank you. Moving to the next question from Pigeonhole Club. Are you part of a slate of candidates? Do you support slate politics in municipal government? Benita, you have 1 minute to respond to the question.
Thank you. I'm actually really happy that I got this question because it was brought up earlier in the night. And I have to say before I answer that, I don't think anyone should be discriminated against, and that includes their political leanings. There is a number of political leanings on our council. We all know that there's ex-MLAs and people that have run before. We even have someone that's been in Ottawa. So I just would like to say that before I start. Definitely what we're doing right now isn't working. Only 1 out of 5 people come out to vote because it's difficult to vote. The research says they don't know who to vote for. I'm part of a team of 5 strong leaders that have come together to say we're about affordability, we're about a clean environment, we're about fun and safety, and we're about focusing on your local economy for good paying jobs. That's what we're about, and that's what we're telling the citizens of Coquitlam.
Thank you, Benita. Dennis, do you have 1 minute to respond to the question?
I am not part of a slate of candidates. I've run provincially, and I think that's where parties belong, at the provincial and federal level. They don't belong here at the civic level. To look and say that the residents of Coquitlam are not smart enough to make the decision on who they want, I think is an insult. And I think we've got the opportunity, you've received the brochures in the mail, you can do your research, and you select who it is you want to represent you. Yes, we want more engagement, but a slate is not the solution for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could hold your applause, please, for Dennis, thank you very much. Brent, you have 1 minute to respond to the question.
I'm not part of the slate. I do not believe in slates in local politics. I don't believe whether it's a Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Green, should be directly involved. We're not a team of 5, we're a team of 9. I'm on council for 3 terms, 9 years. Council has to work together for all of you in this community, not for other, beholden to other party policies and their direction and what they want. We have to listen to you and do what you believe is the best thing for this city. I'm staying as a local politician. I'm never going to run for federal or provincial politics because I came from the community as a president of the Northeast Ratepayers Association. I believe in community, and we shouldn't have slates and party politics in local government. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dennis Marston, and Brent Asmussen. Can take your seats, please. With that, we draw to the conclusion of the debate section of the evening. We will now move into closing statements. We will invite Richard Stewart to please make your way to the podium. 1 minute for your closing statement. No, Lucidora, it's closing statements 1 at a time. So Richard Stewart will be first. Thank you, Mr. Segura. Richard, when you're ready.
So you've seen the diversity on council. We've got the diversity among the candidates, and we've got some really, that's what makes council work. And I really want to see a council that works together. And we've done that. I mean, in the last 6 years, actually, we've probably voted unanimously more often than we've had differences on council. We quite often have entire meetings where we've worked out the differences. We've managed to create public policy that makes sense and that can essentially be improved by the input of each one. And so that's what I really like. I like the diversity of an independent council, and I support an independent council. We've developed consensus through our community. We've developed consensus through our neighborhood plans and through the kinds of consultation with neighborhoods and with our residents. And I think we can move forward to a bright future in Coquitlam. And I look forward to your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Lucidora.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I will bring leadership to the City Hall. No question about it. When I was there for 16 years in the 80s, 90s, there was a lot of leadership for council members, public, and that's what they enjoyed. Number one, that I will build ice arenas. No question about it, we need them. Dry floor space, tennis courts. There's many other things that need to be done in the city. But leadership is something that's been missing. That's why I'm running, ladies and gentlemen. 42 years in politics, and I've never seen such a mess as we have in the city hall today. We have no leadership whatsoever. The council tries to show leadership because the mayor can't. So ladies and gentlemen, on November the 15th, vote in Sagora for complete change and some leadership, and no cocktail parties in the mayor's office. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robert, you have 1 minute.
Yes, I do apologize for the slip up on the debate. I haven't debated in a while in this format. Caught me by surprise, so I do apologize for that. You had a good laugh at my expense. That's all good. I have a history or a experience with federal politics and provincial politics, and the reason I basically run for mayor because, like I said, I've encountered a whole bunch of unacceptable issues with the mayor and certain city council members who have negated their responsibility repeatedly. I tried to bring them into their attention. One of them was $150 million for 5 schools. Now I lobbied Christy Clark in order to obtain for Tri-Cities I brought to business here. And if I were to be mayor, I would invoke all kinds of tax incentives for businesses to come to Coquitlam, including the movie industry and construction-related ventures to generate business for the commerce. And I think I would be able to fulfill those obligations.
Thank you, Mark. That's 1 minute.
I was elected mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Next up, we have Neil Nicholson.
Thank you. So I'm one of a team of 5 strong leaders. Some might call it a slate. Call it that if you like. But if what worries you is block voting, and people moving in lockstep with each other, take a look at the way Chris and Benita and I have voted in the year and a bit that they've been on council with me. We don't always vote the same. And when we differ, it's often on a matter that's of considerable significance. The reason that that happens is because although we have a pretty common set of principles and beliefs, the one thing that we all do is listen to the people. And when we listen to the people, sometimes someone hits my hot button, and sometimes they catch Benita's, sometimes they catch Chris's. So we don't always vote as a block. We are responding to the wishes of residents in everything that we do.
Thank you, Neil. That's 1 minute.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mayoral.
Thank you. It's been a really enlightening evening, and hopefully it has been for you. I just don't want anyone here leaving thinking that the city gets developed without a plan. We have a plan. We have to have a plan. We are legislated, so we have to have a plan. The mayor and I sit at Metro Vancouver, and of course we have to protect our part of the plan in Coquitlam in the regional growth strategy, because that's what designates what density you accept. We work very hard on our plans in Coquitlam. There is an OCP, the original. There is an update in 2012 in the transit-oriented development part, and we are upgrading it again because the TDS only goes 800 meters out from the station. So please keep us working. I look forward to being your city councillor for another 4 years. These are very important 4 years. Thank you.
Next is Justin Kim.
As it is, Coquitlam is a beautiful city and fast growing. We just need a proper plan and properly executed. Our councillors and mayor were doing a good job. I want to keep up the good job when I'm elected. So let us picture our children, our grandchildren enjoying a multitude of activities, walking through the parks, playing baseball, soccer, out in the field, curling at an arena, simply enjoying a good book at the local libraries. I mean, I can also see my parents enjoying Dogwood Pavilion, Glen Pine Pavilion, or being a member of Club Belage, enjoying their life in the community that they love. As your city councilor, I'll do my best to protect, sustain these important aspects of life in Coquitlam, the best place on earth.
Next is Shobha Nair.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Coquitlam, I've experienced community life wearing many hats. As a student, as an educator, as a parent who is raising 3 teenagers, and a community worker. I was in leadership position in a community organization and civic organizations. I understand the needs of the people, and I'd like to be a part of the solution. If elected, I'll try to engage and listen to every citizen who grew up here to the person who arrived yesterday, because I was in their shoes a few years ago. Please elect 5 strong leaders of Coquitlam, and Coquitlam, you need to rise up because there is excellence here. Thank you.
Next is Craig Hatch.
During my first term on council, I chaired the Millardville Revitalization Committee, and I helped save the oldest house in Coquitlam, the historic Booth Farm. I chaired the Riverview Lands Advisory Committee, and I was a strong advocate to get a new mental health facility there and to preserve those beautiful grounds. I was a strong voice for local business, and I brought the 3 cities together for the first time to create a single business license here. That helps cut red tape, it helps businesses prosper, and that helps create jobs right here for our residents. When Burke Mountain students lost their bus service this fall due to school budget cuts, I worked with the parents to create our own bus service up there. It's a ride home because of the work that we were able to do up there. I have a history of getting things done here in Coquitlam. I have a history, I've proven I can work with the other councillors. I've shown leadership, and I hope that you will re-elect me to City Council on November the 15th. Thank you.
Next is Andy Shen.
Thank you for the great evening. I'm running for council because I want to move Coquitlam forward. I want to represent you on council. I want to represent you, the hardworking taxpayers of Coquitlam. You work hard, you deserve a tax break, you deserve a safe Coquitlam, and I want to get that for you. We all have a wide range of expertise to offer. We have May, who's an expert in seeing Coquitlam change. We have Brent, who's a bus driver, but we need to attract new talent to council. I think that I'm the best person to work with other governments. In fact, I've been to Ottawa, so I know what it's like. I'm gonna get whatever we need for you, the taxpayers. I hope I can count on your support. My flyers in the back, there's lots of promises. I hope you can read every single one of them, and I will fulfill them. Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming out tonight. I am probably, as a banker, I'm probably the most conservative person out here. When I wanted to run for office, I seeked out people with good character and integrity. I met Chris and Shobha and Neil and Benita, and they are a good character. And they're passionate about putting residents first. And when we put this platform together, we shared it with people, and people endorsed us. People thought it was a good thing to put people first, and that's what it's all about. I'm disappointed at the fact that people want to fearmonger for their own self-interest. We're here as a team, and when you sit back here, when this thing is over, come up and talk to these people and see how passionate they are about putting residents first. And that's why I'm part of this team, because I want success for you, and I want to take care of you first. I want to give you a voice, I want to protect your interests, and I want to put residents first, and to talk to these other 4 people and see what it's all about. Thanks very much.
Next is Terry Towner.
I'm really glad that we had time for the closing statement tonight, because I want you all to know that I do my homework. I attended the Chamber of Business School. when they told us, we do a lot of door knocking. I've been door knocking since July, but we don't do a lot of door knocking at the businesses. So I attended the school, I read Mike Hines' blog about what the 5 issues were, I met with staff, and I talked with lots of businesses. Not once did incinerators come up or other general issues. So I want you to know I did my homework, I'm prepared, I know the issues, and I'm running for council because of all my community involvements. I'm a passionate community builder. I'm a candidate who cares. I will listen and represent the members of our community, businesses, residents, seniors, youth, whatever, and bring a fresh voice to council for you.
Next is Ben Craig.
Thanks, Aaron, and Mike, and thanks again to the Tri-City Chamber of Commerce for hosting this important event. I've heard it on the doorsteps all over this city that if you don't participate, you can't complain. Tonight shows our residents are eager to participate, so thanks a lot for everybody coming out tonight. As most of you know, I come from the business world. In the business world, you keep costs under control or you perish. I understand the value of a dollar and the need to stick to budgets. As a business person and a taxpayer, I'll bring those values to City Hall. Thank you.
Next is Terry O'Neill.
Thank you for hosting this event, and thank you for coming here tonight. My background in journalism and volunteering taught me the importance of standing up for what you believe in and for working hard to support others. That's why I've helped found the Eagle Ridge Residents Association many years ago, and that's why I'm proud of the role that I played in council to shrink the tax increases every year that we've been on to a rate that's now half of what it was the 3 years before I was on. I hope you give me the chance to build on the successes I helped initiate in the area of democratic reform as well. Real consultation with the public is important. As Coquitlam keeps growing, we need councillors with good judgment and solid experience. Remember, as an independent candidate, I am not beholden to any slate, any team, or any party. My priority is you, the taxpayer, the voter, and the citizen. That's my promise, and you can count on it. Thank you.
Next up is Chris Wilson.
Really want to thank you again for coming out tonight. I had different closing remarks prepared, but I feel compelled to clear some things up. I'm a business administration graduate. I believe solidly in free enterprise, and I'm very proud to be a member of the NDP. And when somebody puts that in a disparaging comment, I think that's unfair. Okay? You've heard a lot about slates tonight. Well, you can thank Richard Stewart for slates, because he ran on a slate when he first became a councillor. Right. He picked his preferred candidates in the by-election and seriously campaigned for them. And he's got his own team working with him tonight. So let's be honest, let's be transparent, and let's be open. Because that's what our taxpayers, our residents, and our citizens really want. Okay? They don't want people hiding behind the scenes, pretending that they're not working together. They want people who are going to be honest and tell you what they're going to do. And that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next is Bonita Zarilla.
This is a very important election. This is a 4-year term. And in that 4 years, Coquitlam is going to change dramatically, and who is going to lead that change is absolutely key. As a current city councillor, I believe that the relationship that we've had as a city with the business has not been invested in enough. We need to build a stronger relationship because we need to rely on our businesses to help us grow and prosper in this community. That's why I'm asking you to elect me again this term, as well as my colleagues on the Protect Coquitlam team, because we need to invest enough time in the relationship with businesses to make the changes we need in the community. We need more collaboration, and we need a mayor and council that would respect the role of businesses. Together as a team, we can ensure that and we can provide the leadership we need to move the change. Thank you so much.
Next is Dennis Marsden.
Well, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting tonight, and thank you all for coming out, and for those of you who are at home watching it online. What we've heard about tonight and our previous debates is a need for leadership, a need for collaboration, and a need for vision. I believe I offer that, all those skill sets, in my time with the Chamber of Commerce, as a board member of the BC Chamber, as the president here. My time as treasurer of the Eagle Ridge Hospital Foundation. I've worked to help develop strategic visions. I've worked to help ensure that the finances are taken care of appropriately. And I've provided leadership. And I believe that leadership comes from within. Every single person up here is asking for you to support them to be a community leader. And I think that's what we need to do, regardless of political strife, is to work, collaborate together. I believe I have that track record, and I ask for your support. On November 15th, please elect Dennis Marsden for Coquitlam City Council.
Next is Brent Housenson.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming out on such a wet night and to be involved in the democratic process. We need to get our voter up from the 21% to 50%, but you're one of those people that have shown an interest, and thank you for that. I've been a councillor 3 terms now. I've taken great pride in my ability to work with others, compromise, find solutions for today and tomorrow to grow this city and move it forward. I've supported new facilities in the city for a new ice rink, new Chimo pool, a new David Bridge going over there. We have done the new dry floor facility. I've supported the hiring of 34 more police officers, more firefighters to protect you, serve your community. But I'm fiscal conservative, always looking out for making sure that we have the best value for you and your tax dollar. You can see that in my record. On November 15th, please vote Brent Housenson for Coquitlam City Council. Thank you.
This will conclude our evening's event. Thank you all for coming out and participating tonight. As a reminder, archive footage will be available at www.tricitieschamber.com. Thank you to our sponsors, Money Group, Best Western Plus, Coquitlam Inn, and Tri-Cities Community TV. My name is Brian Hyman, I was your moderator. Thank you again for participating, and don't forget to vote on November 15th.
Good job, Brian! That's why you guys we had a meeting tonight, board meeting.
How do you go there? Yes. I can tell by the lack of Listen here, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Yeah, and usually it's not money, it's basically, yeah. I don't like any support. I really do, I don't want to talk to some doctors. I just don't know what's right. I don't know how far you care. How far you care. Yeah, the union gave me that information. There's just way too much of that. Oh, are we still streaming? Okay. I said, oops, are we still streaming?
How's that? How do you find that one there compared to the corner?
Oh, it's a much better angle for sure. Most events is more about the audience, and this one because we're shooting for more viewers online. Yeah. We'll be back there next time. Sorry? Usually PKA. Yeah. Well, no, it's happening at Terry Fox now. They're restarting it up under different groups. Terry Fox students are running the But I'm sure we'll be back here doing other coverage. Oh, what do we got? Power Ford. Okay, so you got your part is fine then. Nice.
It's interesting. The only place you can really, the only hotel they have is basically there.
Yeah. That or the casino. It's kind of far away.
There, right?
Well, don't they have a hotel down there? Like next to it. The far side is a hotel. The front side is a casino. And
I thought it was just a casino. I didn't think they got a
oh no, yeah, they got a hotel there. Quite a far from. Yeah, yeah, I think they're due, but still, 2 is not enough.
Why having trouble getting stuff? That's why they have trouble getting a business sergeant bid.
Yeah.
Or Alistair car.
Well, you know, part of the problem. There have been people who say they want to do a hotel, and guess who's part of that? People who have hotels. No, we don't need another hotel. They do in Blue Hills. All right. Tripod. Camera. I guess we're good then. No, I think I took my. Oh, did I not take my power cable back? I thought I did.
No, I don't know. Maybe you've already taken it.
Okay. This stuff is all there.
No. What about your power cable? You need the power cable.
I've got that.
Oh, you have?
How do you get it?
That's good.
You want to walk back? You want to walk back? There's no votes.